Coming to you from the Big Island of Hawaii, it's the Songs and Stories Podcast. And now, here's your host, Steve Roby.
Aloha, this is Steve Roby from Big Island Music Magazine, and joining me on the phone is bassist Harald Winekum. Aloha, Harald.
Aloha.
It's good to hear your voice again.
Thank you.
Let's pick up where we left off in 2020 when the band was on the Big Island scrambling to find a venue that would be open. I think you had a gig at the Honoka'a People's Theater, but they shut down. The pandemic was just starting. You were looking for another venue to play, then the airports were closing. Describe that chaos, if you will.
Yeah, we were like right in the middle of our usual St. Patrick's Day, March tour. And we had played one festival in California, then a casino in Wisconsin on St. Patrick's Day itself. And then it was like a domino effect. Like, you know, one place was like, well, I don't think we can actually have the event and the next one and the next one. And then eventually it became obvious that it's not feasible to just, you know, skip 4 events and then just play only one of the 5. It's just financially not feasible. And then Hawaii was going to be, I think, like the end of March or early April, but they canceled their event. So we must have lost about $3,000 worth of air travel.
Oh,
and it's hard to ever get that back, because what they do is they don't give you the money back. They say, well, this person has that much credit, but you cannot book it online. You need to call this and this 800 number whenever that person is ready to fly again. Now, for example, Aya or a fiddle player, what good is, does the flight credit to Hawaii do her if she's in an orchestra in Austria? We may never get a penny of that back, even though they say we can have it back, but they make it so hard that it's virtually impossible to get to.
It's their rules.
It's their rules, yeah.
When the pandemic hit, you guys made it back home. How did you keep in touch with your fans? Did you explore some new music projects? What did you do during the pandemic?
Yes, so we did a few new songs and collaborations. We did a big one with the Snake Charmer, bagpiper in India, and another Celtic rock band called Skiltron. They are touring a lot in Europe, but they are kind of like us. They're from all over, from South America, Scandinavia, Great Britain. So we did a big, we covered the final countdown with just, bagpipes and rock band. Before COVID, if you put on a music video where everybody sits in their living room with a cell phone in front of them, people would have asked you if you're mad.
Right.
But all of a sudden, that was the only thing that was, done. So we're like, well, actually, let's take advantage of, a bad thing. And so we did a few music videos with, just like everyone else. Their living room sessions.
Kept it together,
kept us going.
Good.
Exactly.
So how has the band evolved since then? I see you've added Chelsea to the shows recently you're doing. Tell me about that.
Yeah, so Chelsea already has been doing these goddesses of bagpipes with Jane. So we all knew her. And Jane took on, like early in the pandemic, a permanent post in a hospital because she's a nurse by training. So now she's doing like assistance for surgeries in a hospital in Scotland. So her, she became from a freelancing bagpiper to a surgeon's assistant with very little options to go and travel the world as she used to.
I can imagine, yeah. Wow.
Yeah. So we're still hopeful to get her out later this year, but we always have to, give her the dates. Then she has to run them by the hospital. The hospital may or may not agree. So, it was harder to get Jane out, but easier to get Chelsea out because she's already in the U.S. Not only did COVID shut down a lot of venues, but there was a travel ban for the longest time for Europeans coming to the U.S. And that included all of our band members, European band members. So even though we got them the annual artist visa, they still couldn't come over because of the general travel ban. So then sometime last fall, we had to pay another like $500 to file what was called an emergency exception. So we had to basically prove that the U.S. economy would suffer so much by us not touring that it's in the interest of the United States to have Duncan and Aya come back on an exception, which kind of sounds crazy, but they actually granted it. So then at least Duncan was able to get back in the country last fall. So that was the first time we had, Duncan come back and play with us live.
So now you're back on the road in 2022. Things are sort of back to normal, but inflation is out of control. What's it like to be on the road as a rock band in 2022?
Yeah, it's funny. I mean, all the fees that we usually get at festivals, they're no different than 3 years ago. But gas is like 3 times what it was 3 years ago. Yeah, anytime we travel from A to B, we're like shocked by how much it costs now, as opposed to years ago.
Mm-hmm.
So that didn't help. And the other thing is, you used to supplement your paid fee at festivals by selling CDs.
Right, merchandise.
And more and more, people walk up and say, "So are you guys on Spotify?" Yeah, we are. Oh, that's perfect. And they turn around and leave. Because why would they pay for a CD if they can stream it with their subscription?
Yeah.
So a lot of the money that you used to make from selling CDs is going away at the same time that, the travel is more costly. So it's not
easy.
It's not exactly working in our favor.
Oh, man, I'm sorry to hear that. But
No, but you just have to figure out, can you sell enough T-shirts?
Yeah.
To still make it work. And
you got to pay the bills.
Then, and then, Hawaii. So in the current lineup, there's only a few people that had played in Hawaii. So, for example, Hawaii won't be a big enough paycheck to actually, be profitable. But then again, it's Hawaii. So most of us are like dying to go there anyway. So it'll just be hopefully zero-sum game that we go there and come home with our travel expenses paid.
Oh, yeah.
And, we'll have a great week.
Well, we'll be sure to give you lots of aloha.
Thank you.
It's worth more than money.
Yeah, it is.
So are you promoting a new CD, a new album this time around?
Not yet. Not yet. So we have several new songs that we did since the last album. And we, now in the time of online streaming, we usually, when a song is all finished, we release it as a single song. So there's more and more songs that are, that are ready to go on an album whenever we have, 10 or 12 songs. Probably in a few months, we'll have enough songs to justify putting them on an album again.
Or a full album, yeah. So you will be joined by the Hawaii Irish dancers.
Yes.
Like in the past. It's fun working with them, right?
Oh, it's fantastic.
Great.
They make choreographies, custom tailored to our songs, and it's great.
And you'll bring them out for a couple of numbers, I guess, yeah?
Yes, at least.
Let's see. What does the rest of the year look like for you? What are you still on the road?
Yes. So we almost, we used to pretty much tour in spring and fall in North America, and then kind of be off the rest of the year, like be active in Europe in the summer. But winter was basically a dead season. And a few years ago, we had an inquiry from Florida where, December, January, February is their big festival seasons because it's not crazy humid and hot. So we played one festival there, and then, other people heard us there, and the same promoters do a second Renaissance festival. So, before we know it, we will be there in December, January, and February this year. Instead of 2 weekends, we'll have like 6-7 weekends. So the rest of the year that used to be like a kind of dead season is now, filling up as well.
That's good to hear. So again, your show is coming up on Saturday, September 24th at the Hilo Palace Theater in downtown Hilo, beautiful downtown. Yeah, I don't think you guys have ever played there before, right?
No, we haven't played there before because we always used to play the Honoka Theater.
Right. Yeah, it's a beautiful venue.
Yeah, so we can't wait. We probably have seen it from the outside because anytime we're on the big island, we rent a car and we go on a bigger trip, and we go through Hilo and then continue to the Volcano National Park and then to South Point, and if you're crazy enough, we may jump off the cliff there and then come back up on the Kona side. So
you guys know your way around.
Yes, we've been to Hilo many times.
Well, Harald, thanks for your time this morning. Celtica Nova coming up on Saturday, September 24th at the Hilo Palace Theater at 7 p.m. Aloha, Harald, and look forward to your show.
Thank you very much. We're looking forward to.
Thanks for listening to the Songs and Stories podcast. Make sure you never miss a show by clicking the subscribe button now. This podcast is made possible by listeners like you. Thank you for your support. We'll see you next week on Songs and Stories. Aloha.